Welcome back to Gray Man Anime Review. This is part 4. Yep. This is reviewing the 4th season of the anime, which was only 27 episodes. Yeah, 27 out of the 4 seasons. This is by far the longest one. Though one thing you gotta notice though about the first 4 seasons is that they're pretty much close to the same length. Just barely like a little over 28, about a little over 25 episodes. Yeah, this adapts just 2 arcs. Not like the previous 2 seasons where it just had 2 arcs plus the last episode setting up the arc of the next season. This particular season is just 2 arcs and that's it. Yeah, the 2 arcs that were adapted for this season were Noah's arc and Invasion the Black Order. Noah's arc though, this did start with the last episode of the previous season. This particular arc is the longest arc of the entire anime, taking up 19 episodes. Yep. In the manga, this took up chapters 90 to 135. It is quite long of an arc. Yep. I mean, it starts off basically with they kind of pick up where the last season left off, but then basically into the arc, and of course, the thing is collapsing, so they go various rooms. And the first room, they come across Skin. By the way, after this arc, the character Skin is, he does return after this one, at least 1 or 2 more times. Though the 2 people from the next room do never return to the series after this arc. Nope. So you have Kanda face off against Skin. Yeah, Kanda has basically noticed that Skin is following him almost the entire series, and so he fights him. He fights him for a good 3 to 4 episodes before he finally beats him. Though, there's something really weird about Skin, is that he, toward the end of last time we've seen the season, he's constantly repeating himself. So he's saying, I will never forgive, I will never get in. Yeah, he just keeps saying, I never forgive innocence. He says the line like 10 times. I'm like, seriously? Is he a broken record? Yeah, this was one of the most bizarre things I had seen. And of course, Kanda gets really injured. He got injured, and also his X's coat was partially destroyed, like mostly the top half of his coat. Yeah. Also show off his tattoo, which they do not explain in the series. Nope. From what I can tell, he's actually a bit younger than he actually looks. And he was created somewhat. They don't explain it in this arc. They explain it much later in the series. Next room, it's just Devi. These 2 guys who Corey fights, and he beats them. And from what I can remember from the manga for this particular fight, there's no alteration. It's pretty much presented exactly the way it is in the manga. They fight, he gets trapped in this iron lung, this Iron Maiden, though part of his arm gets taken out, though his blood becomes sentient, and of course kills Just Devi. And of course, the Talking Umbrella, they also at one point, Just Devi actually decided to make a copy of the Millennium Earl. Now, the Umbrella knows this is not the real man of the Millennium Earl because he can transform into his freaking sword. The Millennium Earl himself, when you see him much later, he does not question, like, why in the world does Alan Walker's sword looks exactly like his? Excuse me. Insane appearance. Yep. Yeah, then, of course, they leave Corey behind and go to the next room, and it's technically kind of the top floor. And once they get there, one of the most oddest things happens, and this shocks Chaozi, I think his name is. Yeah, he's one of the people from Akita's ship from the previous arc. Lena Lee and Levi, when Road jumps into Alan's arms and makes out with him. I'm not kidding. She does do this. It's the most weird. It's one of those jaw-dropping things that happens. And of course, the Umbrella says the same exact line from the manga. You can't kiss him. You can't kiss me. He's an exorcist. And of course, she reveals, yeah, she does like him. Despite the fact when she was last seen, she really wanted to kill him. And now she's in love with him. This is one of the most oddest things. And of course, she develops an obsession over Alan Walker. As for the reason for this, as far as I know, this has never been explained. Like, what does she find about Alan so attractive? Yep. Despite the fact he has a thing for Lena Lee. Lena Lee, throughout almost this entire season, doesn't do much of anything because she's still injured from the previous arc, like before it even arrived in Japan. Yeah, her legs are still bandaged up. As a matter of fact, they say bandaged for most of the season. And of course, there's the fight between Alan and Tiki, which goes on for most of this particular arc. Yeah, it takes up a good, I would say now the fight between Corey and Just Devi, this takes up almost the same amount of episodes as Skin versus Kanda. This one, the third fight they have in here, this one takes up almost the entire arc, like a good, like almost 10 episodes. Yeah, it takes up a lot of it. Yep. Though he does kind of beat him, where he kind of acts as Noah, and of course Rhodes says basically she's mad at him. She says I still like you despite despite this bull crap. And he reveals that nope, Noah power is not gone. He turns into himself sort of a demonic knight. Yeah, fights him for a little while, and then General Cross shows up completely out of nowhere, though he was posing as a skull for some reason, and finding this gigantic egg, which is also happened to be the Akuma factory. Yeah, this is how Akuma are made. And of course, despite this whole thing collapsing, and of course, Levi and Kaju basically, well, Rhodes' door is also destroyed when Tiki turns into this demonic knight. Rhodes apparently disappears. She kind of turns to dust, though she does return later. As far as I know, there's not been an explanation for this. Like, apparently, you see, it looked like Rhodes died, though Rhodes also kind of play a mind game with Levi. Of course, it's implied Levi might have killed her. And then she shows up at the end of the season like, what? Rhodes alive? As far as I know, this is never explained. At all. Yep, and she's Noah's dream. Miki is their form of pleasure. For Skin, he is the Noah of anger. For Just Devi, I think I'm not really sure what their Noah thing is. Yeah, and Lulabelle, the Noah of lust. Yeah, she's a Noah of lust because she's smoking hot. Either in Noah form or human form, she's a smoking hot woman. Let's see. Yeah, then it's revealed in this. And this I thought was really awkward in the manga as well. Apparently, they do kind of explain this pretty well, though it comes out of left field. Apparently, Alan can actually pilot Noah's Ark, which its appearance is basically a gigantic cube. Also, the reason why some of their injuries that they had just prior to going, apparently they're still time locked. So, despite the fact they're away from Miranda, it's explained that they're actually sort of, well, their new injuries will their old new injuries it will affect them, but the previous injuries it would almost hurt like really badly. Yep, and eventually Alan does play the music that's used to restore the Ark, which it's kind of explained in a flashback that Alan and Mana created these notes. Mana sort of taught him this, and at this point of the series, it's never explained how in the world Mana even knew about Noah, of how the Noah thing works. It's not explained much later in the series. It's actually not explained to the current arc. The explanation of this. It takes a long time to explain this. Maybe because the writer kind of forgot about it. I don't know. Yep. They do eventually stop the download of the arc, and everybody's brought back. The Seven Camera look like they're dead. Yeah, and of course, they take the arc back to headquarters. And then, of course, after this particular arc, up until like the first 3 episodes, despite the fact that the next arc is called Invasion of Black Order, it doesn't happen until the end of episode 3 of this arc, which is like episode 96 of the series. I'm like, seriously? Okay, so you spend 2 episodes like basically calm before a storm. You're thinking, okay, if something could happen at the end of this episode, and yes, something has happened. Lulabelle basically is revealed in the next episode. It's revealed she poses one of the characters that appeared in the last 2 episodes, where she stabbed one of the scientists with her finger, no less. Yeah, apparently she has the ability to do this. And somehow opens a portal and brings out a ton of level 3 Kumas, even some like golems from the previous arc, from 2 arcs back. We also see in the previous arc as well. And this fight lasts for pretty much, and this little fight here actually lasts up until like fight between like in this lab. This lasts for a good 4 episodes of this arc. It wraps up in episode 100. Eventually, there's this level 4 Kuma shows up completely out of nowhere. Yeah, it's created via a form of a pregnant woman, which I thought was a little weird. And it looks like an angel. And eventually, he's not finally defeated until like the final episode of this arc. That's when he's finally defeated. Lulabelle herself also briefly takes Miranda hostage, which, as for the reasoning for this, why Miranda of all people, never actually explained why. Just take an exorcist, some random for her. She's probably some random exorcist. She's probably, as far as I know, Miranda never encountered before this arc. And I do appreciate the anime actually acknowledging the filler arc which introduced her. In the manga, as far as I know, Alan and Lulabelle never met before this arc, and yet this arc is the first time they actually met. In the anime, they met before this, which was probably a lot better for them to make that change. Now, is she the main antagonist of this particular arc? Well, she's main antagonist of her own subtitle arc. This one, she's sort of one of the main. She's a antagonist, not the main one. There technically is no main antagonist. It's just basically her, Akuma, some skulls, and a level 4 Akuma who only shows up for a few episodes. And then he's destroyed by the combination of General Cross, Alan Walker, and Lena Lee, who actually got her ability, her dark boots back with it looks like a Mark II version of it, where it's basically a red color, also has butterfly wings, and it's sort of semi-futuristic, which is really nice. As for Alan, he doesn't get any major change this whole arc, aside from the fact he gets severely injured. And of course, the character Tubbs, who actually been sort of a recurring character throughout most of the series since episode 2, he actually dies in this arc. He gets turned into a skull, then he gets turned to dust. He's probably by far the only character who actually does die, officially confirmed dead in this arc. Well, everyone else, I mean, yeah, there's some unnamed scientists who actually get killed off in this arc, but he's like the only regular character that gets killed off, which was kind of weird. They even have some of the characters from the Asian branch show up at the beginning of this arc. Excuse me. And of course, this particular arc at the start of his introduction of the Marshall character, which I think he's an okay character, but at least unlike Danzo from Naruto, this guy I don't call him an idiot. I mean, this guy is kind of fanatic in what he does, but he's not stupid, and he's not like the way Danzo was written in the series, where almost any time this guy showed up, it was stupid, didn't care for him, and the best thing that happened to him is when he got killed by Sasuke. In this series, this guy is quite interesting, despite the fact of his. I mean, if you look at him, he looks like Adolf Hitler. I am not really sure why in the world that the writer of the series decided to draw like this. I mean, the thin mustache. I mean, really? And the face looks almost very similar to Adolf Hitler. I don't know if this was done on purpose. And it is revealed in this arc that Lena Lee has a past with this guy because her past with him is so traumatic to her. When she first saw him, she nearly went to shock when she saw him because of how badly he treated her when she was younger. And of course, Kamui knows all about it. And they also mention something that actually was brought up during the Simone Dark arc, at least about 3 arcs back, about experimenting, forcing sort of people become accommodators. Yeah, she brings this up and she decides to do it. So how she gets her new ability she gets her new ability with her boots is that she drinks her innocence, and then eventually, and this I thought was really weird. Then the top part of her feet just open up like a small cross, and blood spills right out. Probably thinking, ew, did she just stab herself? No, the thing just exploded. And blood kept pouring out. Eventually, these blood formed into new boots. And then when they activate, they look like ankle bracelets. Anklets. Yeah, That's basically what they turn into when they're deactivated. Anklets, not high heels. Which, okay, that's a good accessory for her. Yep. And they do put her in a different outfit, which is actually quite unusual for see her in a completely different attire. Because if you see Lena Lee throughout almost the entire series, she's mostly wearing the same exact attire the entire time. Alan, when he's not wearing his ex's coat, he's basically dressed like, well, wears a white button-up shirt, a vest, and dress pants while also wearing the regular. Probably look like very heavy dress shoes. Look like he's basically dressed to impress. Yeah, of course, Levy is the only one who actually has a personal touch to his outfit by adding a scarf. And of course, with this particular location of the Black Order, the headquarters of the Comic Con, despite fact being the European branch being partially destroyed, they move it and the final episode to, well, an island off the coast of London, which they don't show it like much later on in the manga. It's basically the size of the building itself is pretty much the size of a church, basically almost like a mansion in a way. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like a freaking mansion. From the picture I saw of it, it kind of reminded me of the Spencer Mansion from Resident Evil, in some way. And of course, on the side of it, it looks like something of like maybe on the left side of the building, it kind of looks like Notre Dame in a way. That's from what I can tell from the design of it. Yep. And the way the season ended was that it looked like still more story to tell. And then here's the thing. After this episode, the series went hiatus for 8 years. There was no episode made for this series for that long period of time. Well, there kind of was some reasons for that. One, because of the hiatus the series gone through, though not as many as Hunter x Hunter, though the series also switched from publishing weekly, I think it switched to monthly. Now it comes every 3 months. Yep. And of course, my next review, which I'll do tomorrow, will be my review of Hollow. Yes, Hollow. Hollow, technically the 5th season of the entire series. Yep. Excuse me. Though it's not very long. No, not as long as these seasons. Despite the fact the seasons have pretty much about the same amount of chapters as the previous seasons, the season itself is not very long. It's only 13 episodes. And this I thought was really weird for the series to do. Like, you're probably thinking, okay, maybe when the series got back, they would adapt the very next arc, which was Destruction of the Black Order. No, it doesn't. If for some reason the anime decided to skip over this arc for strange reason, as far as I know, there's never been an explanation for this at all. Also, General Cross, you also see the generals throughout this arc actually show off their badass power. There's even a joke between Marion, General Cross, and another general who is a woman. Because she has a whip. He says, "Save that for the bedroom after the battle." Yeah, and I'm sure she's probably thinking, like, really? He's hitting on me in the middle of a battle? That's General Cross for you. He's a womanizer. They have the references at the end of the previous arc where it was like, okay, Lee's alone with General Cross and Lavi and Chao Chu just basically break into the room, which is where Alan basically plays the piano. He says, "You womanizer!" I thought this was so funny. Yeah, I always gotta enjoy the humor in D-Gram because it's so funny. Though I have seen one image of Hollow where apparently they changed the animation despite the fact it's to the same studio, which that's weird. I don't know why. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review of My Hero Academia. Well, newest at the manga. Okay, but to see you there. Bye.